Welcome to Dental Business RX. Practice success in 30 minutes or less.
Thank you for calling ABC Dental.
You ever notice how many mini industries have popped up around dentistry over the last few years? We got the usual suspects that have been here forever: labs, suppliers, temp agencies, software manufacturers, consultants and coaches like us here at MGE, and of course, marketing companies. But over the past decade or so, we've added a whole new wave of niche businesses: communication and engagement software, insurance fee negotiators, patient discount plan platforms, and what I want to focus on in this week's episode, insurance billing and verification companies. Now, some of these have been around, these insurance billing and verification companies, for a little while, but not all that long in the big picture. The technology that made it even possible, high-quality, low-cost remote access and cloud-based practice management systems, really only matured in the last 10 years or so. But this industry is exploding. We're seeing more and more clients outsourcing what used to be the financial coordinator or insurance coordinator's job. These companies now handle everything from basic verification and billing to AR cleanup, posting, and sometimes even patient statements. And when COVID hit and staffing costs shot up, it slammed the accelerator down on adoption of these companies. And it makes sense, with financial coordinators costing $5 or $10 more an hour. While insurance reimbursements were being dropped, outsourcing started looking a heck of a lot more attractive to many doctors. But like anything else, there's a good and a bad that can come with this. From where we sit, working with thousands of doctors over the years, we get a unique view of what's actually happening in the real world of dentistry. And I'll tell you, we are seeing something we've never seen before. And I've mentioned this a couple episodes ago. ARs, accounts receivables, for new clients are higher than we've ever seen in the past. If I showed a 2025 new clients AR to one of our 1999 clients, they would freak out. You're looking at 2, 3, 4 months of production there. That used to be unheard of. That was a terribly run office. A month and a half used to be bad. So what's going on? Well, when you outsource, there are a few things you've got to think with. Number one, should you even be outsourcing in the first place? Like, are you a proper candidate? A lot of practice that we've seen that have done that shouldn't have outsourced. And two, when you outsource, you're only outsourcing some of what would have been the financial coordinator's job, not all of it. And that's where we're seeing functions getting dropped that end up costing practices tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's the crux of this week's episode. Should you outsource your insurance billing and verification? And if you do, how do you do it right? What are the best practices so you can do it without losing a ton of money in the process? And to help me tackle this, I'm joined by Sabri Blumberg, our Deputy Chief Operating Officer here at MGE. And she's been on quite a few episodes, but I'll give you a little bit of a brief description as to what she does and how she does it. Sabri is our senior technical person here at MGE. She is the most knowledgeable person we have in the organization with regards to practice management. She's worked with hundreds, probably thousands of our clients over the years, right? Welcome, Sabri, by the way. She's listening to this as I'm talking. This isn't over Zoom. And so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And before we dive into this, and I hate when people do that, like before I get into what you're watching this video for, before we get into this, very briefly, full disclosure, we got so sick of seeing clients struggle with this insurance outsourcing and getting burned that Sabri went ahead and started a separate company to actually fix it. It's called Smile Care Claims, and I'll put a link to it on the episode webpage. But Sabri, what was it that made you do this? Like, because, I know you had been sending clients out to some of these companies, and what made you finally, what's the right word? Snap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it was
You snapped.
It was an interesting.
You snapped and started an insurance verification and billing organization.
Right.
I mean, you don't run it. We have someone running it. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I obviously didn't have enough to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not true.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for me to do this when people who know me and have listened to me talk for the last 20, 30 years, they know that I was never a fan of outsourcing anything.
Okay.
Right. And I've been asked, even when it wasn't done electronically, people have been doing a form of this from home, right, for quite a few years now. And I was always very much against it because to me, this is such an important part of the practice. It isn't the money line. That obviously is your sales, right? But there is usually a large insurance component, and it messes with your money when this is messed up. So it was always important enough to me that I advised clients, do not outsource this. But then everything changed after COVID, because personnel costs just skyrocketed. And in a response to this, like the cost of doing business, inflation went parabolic. So the expenses got higher and higher and higher. And because a lot of dentists that I work with when they first start our program are still in network, there was no margin for, like, we couldn't afford personnel like this. And anybody we were going to pay $25 an hour to needed to be used to make us money, like to fill the schedule, to go after incomplete treatment plans, to put more sales opportunities on the schedule, to build hygiene.
Sure.
Like, we needed them to service the patients, not run after money we've already made. So, and then on top of that, insurance companies started lowering their reimbursement. So I went, okay, well, I have to change my mind on this, right? I have to change, because it's almost becoming unaffordable to keep your insurances in-house. And if you do find competent people that want to be paid, and competent people want to be paid, and I don't blame them, and you certainly don't want this handled by somebody that's incompetent. I mean, $25 an hour, or $30 an hour, I'm going to want to pay that to somebody who can make me money, not run after money already made. So I said, outsource it. So they asked me, okay, well, who do I send it to? So I just named whatever companies I knew of.
Sure.
And that was the first time in my history at MGE that I get yelled at by clients, right? Because
I mean, did you actually get yelled at? They were
I
kinda
didn't
like, "Oh, that
get
didn't
yelled
work out."
at, but it
Well, we didn't work with any of these companies, so we had no
No.
idea. They just seemed like they were cool.
you know what? They advertised that they did
Sure.
a good job, and
They had a nice website.
They had a nice website. In certain cases, I'd heard that they'd done a good job for some clients.
Sure.
Right? But it more often than not didn't work out. And finally, I just went, okay, that's it. And right at that time, somebody I respect very, very much, that's very educated in this area, became available and asked me. And so I asked her to do it, and it worked out really well.
All right, so you started this company.
Yeah.
And I know we've had a lot of clients adopt this company.
Yes.
And if you want to find out more about it, because obviously, I mean, I enjoy my shameless plugs, but
Yes.
I mean, if you want to know more about it, you can always call Sabri.
Yeah.
But I'll put the link to the company on the episode webpage. So if you aren't outsourcing your insurance or looking at it, I would definitely check this out. If you mention that you heard about it on the podcast, they'll give you $250 off your first month. It's not like something where I can put a coupon code, only because you're going to actually have to talk to somebody to do this. This isn't something you just sign up for on the interwebs, right? Anyway, all right, good. Well, so that's what made you finally snap and do it.
Yeah.
And it's rolling along, so that's
It's rolling
cool.
along now.
Okay, good. So let's get into the meat of this here.
Yeah.
Right? So first question would be, I come to you, I'm a doctor, and I go, hey, I'm thinking of outsourcing my insurance.
Yes.
How do you determine whether you go, yeah, you know what, Jeff, that's a good idea, or you know what, I wouldn't do that? Like, what are some of the things you're looking at?
It's still the exact same reason that made me, start small care claims in the first place, and that is financially doesn't make sense
Okay.
to source it out or keep it in-house.
So would that have to do with, let's say I'm collecting $20,000 a month in insurance? Like, we're not a very big practice.
You're not a very big practice, and the person, but even then, sometimes if I have one front desk person,
Okay.
and it's taking them 3 hours a day between the verification, the follow-up, right, the filing and entering the payments, I have to take, and depending on how much I pay that person, but I spoke to somebody today that has a fairly large practice.
Yeah.
That somehow found somebody that can competently do this for $16 an hour and asked me if they should outsource. I said, no. If you can find somebody in-house to do this for $16 an hour and you think that person can do a good job, don't outsource it. But that's rare to
Got it.
find something like that.
Because there's a lot to know about insurance.
It is,
There's
and
lots
it's
of little
always changing.
teeny weeny thing. You're right.
Right.
And you got to get the right code.
Exactly.
And,
It's not a mechanical action. You have to understand what you're doing so that you're getting the maximum amount the maximum amount of reimbursement
Okay.
from the insurance company.
So if I'm sitting there listening to this and I'm going, well, should I do this? It's going to be, well, how much am I paying to do it now? And how much insurance volume do we have in the first place?
Correct.
And how much time is the person I'm paying spending on doing this?
Correct.
Got it.
And I find that like 8 out of 10 times, it doesn't make sense to
Really?
keep it in the
Oh, to
practice.
keep it in-house. Got
yeah,
it.
it doesn't make sense to keep it in-house, not financially.
Right. Well, because if I had somebody who was really great and aggressive and good at talking to patients, and I'd want them being a treatment coordinator or a schedule coordinator, that would make a heck of a lot more
Absolutely.
sense. Yeah.
Absolutely, because we usually, what we have the least amount of time for is to go after the patients that we are not seeing in the practice.
Right.
And getting them back on board with getting healthy and getting them committing to their treatment plan. So coming back in for hygiene
Right.
so that we can talk to them about their treatment plan again.
Okay.
Right, and nobody has time for that.
Got it. Okay, so pretty simple. I hate to use the word algorithm. It really isn't, but it's like hourly pay for the employee, how much volume we're doing, and what was the last one? On how much time they're spending on it.
Correct, and
Yeah.
is there enough time to do the work that's going to generate income into practice?
Got
That's
it.
going to generate.
Do I have other stuff they could be doing that they're not doing?
Correct.
because
If
they're
I
working
have
on
like
this?
$500,000 in outstanding treatment in the last year, I want that person calling on that.
Got it. Okay, so that's how you would first look at, is this person a candidate or not?
Correct.
Okay, good. So now let's say this person, I am a candidate. You're going to have me outsource, whether it's with Smile Care Claims or some other company.
Yes.
Right? We've noticed, and this is something you and I have talked about a lot.
Yeah.
We've noticed you're only outsourcing a part of the financial coordinator hat.
Correct.
You're only outsourcing really the insurance verification and billing.
Yeah, you're outsourcing the insurance coordinator hat. You're not outsourcing the financial coordinator hat.
But we should clarify that
Yes.
because the if you had a bigger office,
Yes.
your financial coordinator would have, the insurance coordinator would report to the financial
Correct.
coordinator. Because the financial coordinator's job would be to keep your ARs good and manageable and your patient statements balance is low and all that kind of jazz.
Correct.
The account straight.
That's right.
So they're really just outsourcing the insurance coordinator hat.
Yes.
So then they're not hiring a because normally nobody really has, unless it's a big office, an insurance coordinator.
Correct.
They usually have a financial coordinator who's doing that also.
Correct.
So they're outsourcing insurance coordinator, and then nobody's wearing the financial coordinator hat.
Correct.
At all.
Correct.
So then what ends up happening, I know that I've seen, and you can kind of fill this in because you've seen it a lot more, is you look at someone's AR and there's, $180,000 90 days plus.
Correct.
You start digging through some of these accounts, and some of them are like patient balance. Some of them are stupid patient balances, $100, $18. But there's just the length of some of these AR reports. I'm seeing practices. I know I'm going off here. I'm supposed to be interviewing you.
Yeah.
But
No, but I will tell you something, and I just want to kind of weigh in on the point you made, like how bad ARs are now compared to what they used to be. But it isn't just the total amount of accounts receivable; it's the reason
right.
why that accounts receivable is so high. I find more and more clients having trouble with patient billing because their insurances are so screwed up, right?
When you say they're screwed up, what would you mean by that?
Meaning that they haven't been submitted or incorrectly closed claims or things needed to be appealed or followed up on. So the account statement is wrong. So they're holding off on billing the patient because they don't want to create upsets with the patient because the patient's account is all messed up.
All right,
and
so
they're
walk me
afraid if they
through
do a
this.
billing, you're going to end up with all these patients upset.
So walk me through this.
Yeah.
So we filed a claim for patient Mrs. Jones.
Yes.
And it was for Crown, and we're expecting $490 from the insurance company.
Yes.
So we filed it, and then maybe we didn't include the correct documentation.
Sure.
Or-
Or it came back for some reason that maybe wasn't right.
Narrative or something like
Yeah,
this.
and that claim needed to be appealed, and it just was never done.
Now, how do these claims just not get appealed? Because I can't imagine. Obviously, if I've outsourced it, whoever's billing for me should be appealing this claim.
Correct, but it's not just an outsourcing problem, it's also an in-house problem, right? Where the job just isn't getting done correctly. So you
Okay.
end up with these huge accounts receivables,
I know,
right?
it's crazy. I saw one client, and the number of pages in their AR report reminded me of a practice that I saw like a few years ago that was doing $1 million a month.
Jeff, about 8 months ago, I was looking at a client's accounts receivable, and I was getting it remotely, and it crashed our computer. That's
Our
how
computer
big
or
it
their
was.
computer?
Ours just straight up crashed. Like the whole thing just went splooey because of the sheer volume of, like, the size of the, like, it was insane. Now, he had older software,
Yeah.
right? But, I mean, I saw one client, the condition we're getting these accounts in, right? And it's becoming more and more real to me as I'm looking at these accounts myself now, where before I never would. I would just look at, like, what's your accounts receivable?
Sure.
Okay, we have a problem, let's fix it, this is how you fix it, right? Now that I'm actually looking at some of these clients' accounts receivable or other people's accounts receivable, I am blown away by the sheer size of most people's and the confusion in their accounts receivable.
Okay, so let's say,
Yeah.
let's take that on then. So someone's going to outsource,
Yes.
right? And what would be some of the best practices, whether they're outsourcing with Small Care Claims or some other company?
Okay, so I haven't changed my tune about somebody needs to be responsible for this in office.
Okay, so that's the first big thing.
That's the first big thing.
Okay.
Right? Because all they're going to be doing with you is your insurances. But even an in-house insurance coordinator, which really this job is an outsourced insurance coordinator, would be coordinating with the office on patient balances, making sure the adjustments are done correctly, right? Making sure that the correct codes are being used, right? So, and somebody in the office is still responsible for
Okay,
making
so
sure.
let's dial that back for
Yes.
a second, because you said this numbers of times
Yes.
on the podcast. Whether you're outsourcing your marketing or something else or whatever,
Yes.
right? You want to make sure someone is responsible for this. All right, so if I've outsourced my insurance filing,
Yes.
and I don't have a financial or an insurance coordinator,
Yes.
who's responsible for interfacing with the insurance company?
Well, that would be the office manager.
Okay, because they're kind of wearing that hat in lieu of not having someone doing it.
Correct. They are the financial coordinator. And really, the only thing that they're supposed to do, right, themselves, besides the oversight, is the patient billing.
Okay, which we can get into here in a sec, 'cause
Yes.
that's where we're seeing a lot of errors
Yes.
as well. But so they're ultimately responsible for this.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, so we have somebody responsible. We go, good, we've outsourced it, and I tell my office manager, okay, you have to watch this like a hawk.
Yes.
And they should, in my opinion, if you outsource something, they should have the same accountability that an employee would have.
100%. You
Yeah.
are paying somebody to do a job. They just are not at your location.
Right. But I think people get into that frame of mind, like set it and forget it.
No.
Like, oh, well, I'm paying this marketing company, so I don't have to, they're supposed to
No.
do, no, I'd have the same oversight I'd have with an employee.
100%.
Okay, so I've outsourced, my office manager is responsible for running this company to bill our insurance.
Yes.
Okay, so what are some best practices that as the office manager I'd want to make sure are happening?
Well, you want to make sure that the documentation is available, right, and that that's being done correctly and
Okay,
coded.
like x-rays, things like that.
Narratives, patient notes are available, right? Proper coding is happening, things like that.
And I was talking to somebody recently about this, and they were mentioning they do that with every claim.
Yeah.
Like even claims where someone wouldn't need a narrative or,
Yeah.
we normally wouldn't provide this data. They just over-provide data.
Yes.
Is that like a good idea or?
It's not a bad idea. At least they can tell you. I mean, they can still tell you we didn't receive it, which is unusual, right? So,
Well, that's what's funny to me. I remember when you first told me about this, like,
Yeah.
Jeff, I'm just sick of this crap. I'm just starting this thing, right? Like, you really want to do this? Because
you really want to get back into
do you really
this?
want to do this? It's just, And, I knew you'd do it well. That wasn't the question. But because there was this idea that AI, well, the insurance companies are going to have an AI, and there's going to be AI systems that do
Right.
this. And, here's the problem with that.
Yes.
Is if AI could, of course AI could make it faster.
Of course.
Insurance could pay claims same day.
Yep.
For all of these, if you
With
really
AI,
wanted to.
could
Oh,
be
heck
done
yeah.
in 3 seconds.
But then insurance could pay the claim same day. They're never going to do that.
Correct.
Because then they'd lose their money too fast.
Correct.
So that's never going to happen.
This area is never going to be efficient, unfortunately.
I hope I'm wrong.
Right. But you can see it now with the AI that they're doing for verification.
Yeah.
Right? Which is supposed to plug right into the insurance company's website.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that works for certain insurance companies, but the majority make it impossible to do that, right? Or only provide certain information, incomplete information, can't get access.
So you still have to make a phone call.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you find it somehow, right? Like you can maybe find it online, but your AI won't be able to, right? So it is unfortunately how insurance companies make money is by delaying payment, because everybody knows the longer you can delay payments, after a while people will forget about you. And that is the insurance company's operating basis.
Well, also I can hold on to that money and use it to make more money.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I was actually talking to somebody who worked for an insurance company, and that's that was their philosophy. Like the longer we can hold off, the longer we can contest a claim, the longer we can keep them on the line, the more likely it is that we don't have to pay that claim.
It's like not answering your
ridiculous.
door.
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Eventually
Hello?
they'll go
Hello?
away.
Are they going to go away?
Yes. It's really not okay, but that's what's happening. So to me, the idea that AI is going to take over
no.
insurance companies to make them more efficient is ridiculous. You destroy their model.
Got it. Okay, so
Yeah.
fine. Whatever, a little of a rant.
Yes.
All right, so we have your first point was making sure your documentation is on point for everything. That would include correct coding, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, obviously, the company you're working with has a responsibility to check these things as well.
Sure.
Right? Like they're responsible for making sure that the documentation is correct and everything's included and it's coded correctly. And if the company or if the dental practice is coding things incorrectly or using the wrong code, getting lower reimbursement, obviously, as the quote-unquote remote insurance coordinator, they have a responsibility to correct these things so that they're maximizing reimbursement for the patients.
And
of the practice.
would you expect them to communicate with the office manager on a routine basis, say, hey, by the way, you're using the wrong code for this or that?
I
or-
absolutely would, because I would expect an insurance coordinator to do that.
Got it.
Right? Everything that you would, in an ideal world, everything that you would have done in-house, if you're going to outsource it, they need to do that as well. You're basically paying somebody to do this,
Right.
as if they were in-house.
Right.
Right?
Well, and that's why the whole idea of deciding whether you should do it or not, there's always going to be a base entry fee
That's right.
of whatever that is, anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month. So, yeah, anyway.
That's right.
Okay, cool. So that's the first thing. What are some other points?
Oversight of patient balances.
Yeah,
right?
that's a
So there
killer.
needs to be tight coordination.
Let's walk this through for a second, because this is
Yes.
something you and I are very conversant with.
Yes.
But show the listeners how this happens.
Well, this can only happen two ways,
Mm-hmm.
right? Obviously, we expect the patient to pay their copayment
Sure.
at the time of service.
Okay, so let's
right?
do a scenario, if
Yes.
that's cool. You came in, or patient Smith came
Yes.
in, and it was a $4,000 case. We're
Yes.
expecting $1,500 from the insurance company.
Yes.
Okay, so I've sent it over to whoever I'm using to bill the insurance with the proper narratives and everything else.
Yes.
And we collected the $2,500
yeah.
that we expected,
Yeah.
or that we knew the
Yes.
patient had to pay for copay.
Yes.
Okay, so then the insurance company, what happens?
So then what happens is the claim gets filed, and
Mm-hmm.
the insurance company doesn't pay as much as expected.
So they pay, let's say, $1,100.
Right.
instead
So
of
we have
$1,500.
$400 left.
Okay.
Right. So, but now somebody has to go back to that patient and assign that balance from the insurance company to a patient balance and bill the patient for it.
Got it.
Right. Sometimes I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see that being written off.
Just
right.
without even thinking about it.
Yeah,
Like
without
not even
it-
asking the patient. to pay.
Right.
Got it.
Something else that happens, the insurance company doesn't pay
Okay, at all.
at all. They lost the documentation, or we didn't receive it, or whatever, right? So we're working with it, or they give us some reason why it's not medically necessary, and after a while, that claim goes stale after a while, and we forget about it, right? Especially when it's smaller balances. It's not usually the big ones that we have trouble with.
It's like the $200 balances.
It's
or
the
$300,
little
yeah.
balances, but those little balances add up.
Sure.
Because usually if an insurance company owes somebody $1,500, they're going to go after it, right? And they're going to stay on top of that claim because that's a big ticket claim. But when you look at your accounts receivable and it's like $100, $100, $150, $200, $250, $50, $50, $50, $1,500, I'm going to go after the $1,500
Right.
claim. And then all these little ones just kind of go stale. But these little ones add up to thousands and thousands of dollars.
And in some cases, they're not even insurance claims; they're
Right.
patient balances.
They're
in a lot of these
patient
cases.
balances incorrectly assigned to insurances, or they're they are truly insurance balances we didn't go after and now getting reassigned to the patient incorrectly. Right. So it's different reasons why it's happening.
So someone isn't really watching the store when it comes to the accounts
Well,
receivable, essentially.
sometimes I don't blame them. Do you really want to be on the phone with an insurance company for an hour for
but if
$150 pro fee?
If I've outsourced this, though,
Yes.
I'm expecting them to be on the
Oh, they
phone.
better be doing it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
the whole idea.
Yeah.
Like, I've outsourced this, so
Yes.
I'm expecting them to be on the phone for the $150 pro fee.
Correct.
So then, by what you're saying, that would indicate in some cases they aren't appealing these claims, some of these companies.
Some of these companies may or may not be,
Yeah.
right? May or may not be. I mainly just got a lot. I mean, there was a lot of different reasons why I finally decided, okay, let's see if we can do this right.
Yeah.
Right? The way that I would want this to be done if
Sure.
I was a practice owner. Right? And there were all multitude of reasons or things that were going wrong. And it may even be with one company, somebody loved them because they happened to have this person and somebody else hated them
I see.
because they had this other person, right? So, but at least those clients have the right idea, right? They maybe don't have the right company, maybe they do, right? Or maybe they don't have the proper systems in place in their own office to make a company like that work.
Or,
right?
or they have a company that's good,
Yes.
but nobody's policing the ARs internally.
That's what I mean.
That's usually where it starts to go wrong.
That's-
It seems to be the consistent thing.
Correct. But more, what I see far more often is it's a huge mess because it's not being done correctly in office. And then on top of it, now we're looking to pay somebody $25, $30 an hour to fix this.
Okay,
and
so
that doesn't make sense.
We already
to me.
had an AR problem.
We already have an AR
Now
problem.
we're farming it out.
Right.
So we have just this gobbly or, mess of a whatever.
Yes.
And now we farmed it out.
And now it's an even bigger mess, or that mess just never got recovered from.
So what would we expect then as far as from a best practices perspective? Would we want to make sure that if I'm the office manager
Yes.
and I'm wearing this financial coordinator hat and
Yes.
we've outsourced our filing,
Yeah.
how often should I be reviewing the AR?
Oh, at least once a month, just like you would do standardly if you had a financial coordinator.
Okay.
Right? And if you are a financial coordinator, the stable thing that you work off of is that accounts receivable report. You're printing a new one every month, and you're making sure that those 60 accounts and over 90 accounts are being handled aggressively.
I could do a little bit every week too if I wanted to, couldn't I?
Oh, absolutely.
Just to kind of get ahead of myself.
You could if
Yeah.
you wanted to. You could if you wanted to, right? Usually I used to do this job.
Yeah.
So I used to just do it once a month, and the accounts receivable just stayed up to date, no problem.
So now if I farm it out, I'm the OM, and
Yeah.
I'm responsible for this area, I have to look at this every month.
Yes.
Got it.
100%.
And then if I find patient balances, I bill or I do whatever.
Correct, but you should also be coordinating with your insurance coordinator so that or your outsource company, that if we get a payment back from an insurance company that was less than we expected, right, there's no reason not to just generate a bill right then and there.
Right.
And just send that patient a bill, why not?
And I think I did, the whole account system with
Yeah.
the EOB letters and all that stuff.
Yes.
I did an episode on this. It's
Yeah.
episode 200.
Yeah.
Specifically on patient balances.
Yeah.
Because it was never as bad as this is now. But yeah. Anyway, so that's one of the, so we've got documentation narratives. We've got the managing the ARs internally. Right. Is there any other best practices if I've outsourced this stuff? What are some of the other things I should be looking at?
Well, obviously, you need to make sure that whoever you outsourced it to is actually doing their job,
Got it.
just like you would with a real employee, right? So you're checking everything, right? And the EOBs, no matter who you outsource to, are still coming to your office. You're scanning them and you're giving them a copy so they can enter payment and do what needs to happen with them, right? But if you're seeing too many zero pay EOBs, you may want to check into that. You would normally.
Yeah, if I had someone in-house.
If you had
absolutely.
somebody in-house, you would. So you're not doing anything different than you would be doing if you had a real live person there.
Got it.
Right? And I think that's the point that you were trying to make, is that it doesn't, like, the responsibility is still in-house. Right? It doesn't matter whether the person, like, whether it's your marketing or your insurances, it doesn't matter what it is. Right? That still belongs to your practice. You're just paying somebody to do it.
I'm still stuck on this. I was trying to make a point. Did I not make my point?
Oh, you made the point perfectly. How about this? You made the point with me. I got it.
Sorry, I'm just
Yes.
messing with you. Okay, so we got those are the three big things.
Yes.
Well, actually, it's really four, wasn't it? It's responsibility. Someone's in charge.
Yeah. Proper oversight.
Yeah, proper oversight, like you just said, and then we have documentation, proper documentation, and then managing the ARs at least monthly.
Correct.
Okay. So would you say, if I had to venture this,
Yeah.
when you see somebody, you've sent them off to go to one of these companies, they
Mm-hmm.
come back to you, you go, this isn't working, blah, blah, blah. Were these the things you saw that had dropped out because they had outsourced?
Yes, absolutely. And these are the things that we're doing now to avoid this becoming a problem for them and to have it be a seamless marriage the way it's supposed to be.
Got it. All right, that makes sense. Well, okay, good. Well, you covered a lot on this. This is actually really good stuff. If you had to leave everybody with like one concept
Yeah.
that they walk away from this episode with, what would that be?
I guess my thing is I don't care who you outsource to, and I don't care whether you outsource or not, right? The bottom line is the responsibility still belongs in the office, right? It's the office, so somebody in the office must always be responsible, whether that's insurances, but this applies just as much to marketing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all.
Makes total sense. This is very cool. I'm glad we're able to lay this out. It's a real issue.
Yeah.
That, it's more real every day. We're seeing a lot of practice confront every day, and it's important to
Yeah.
understand how to navigate it. So,
Yeah, and if I can say something,
Yeah.
I'm actually incredibly proud of what we've created.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's exactly what I wanted it to be. Took a little bit of time, but it's exactly what I wanted it to be, and I'm very proud of it.
That's awesome.
Yes,
All right, good. Well, Sabri, thank you for coming on.
you are welcome.
And folks, I hope this helps. I have that link to Small Care Claims in the episode webpage, and also don't forget to mention that you heard about it on the podcast. You get $250 off your first month. If you want to have more information about MGE, you can find us online at mgeonline.com or call us at 800-640-1140. Folks, have a great week, and we will see you at the next episode.